Hi, my name is Keslam Telemak. I would like to welcome you to my book review project for leadership and organizational behavior. The book that I chose to read is called Servant Leadership in Action: How You Can Achieve Great Relationships and Result, written by Ken Blanchard and Rene Bradwell. I was interested in this book because I would like to learn how servant leaders balance making a profit and at the same time value people and relationships. I was interested to learn how they manage to put people first and drive employee engagement at the same time. The purpose of this book was to analyze the traditional model where you have a leader at the top, someone who decides what to do, when to do it, where to do it, and how to do it. This leader has a vision and everybody follows. This book emphasized that servant leaders retain this leadership aspect but complement it with an implementation and operational role. In this review, we are going to learn number one, what servant leadership is and what it is not, and what differentiates them from others. Number two, we're going to learn what are some of the characteristics of servant leaders, what key attributes they possess, and number three, who is our model for servant leadership? Now, what is servant leadership? From the foreword, John Maxwell stated that the only way to create great relationships and results is through servant leadership. It's all about putting other people first. Servant leaders lead by serving their people, not by exalting themselves. With self-serving leaders at the top, the traditional hierarchy pyramid is kept alive and well. When that happens, who do you think people think they work for? The people above them. The minute you think you work for the person above you for implementation, you are assuming that person is your boss, is responsible, and your job is being responsive to that boss. As a result, all the energy of the organization is moving up the hierarchy, away from customers and the frontline folks who are closest to the action. Now, servant leaders correct this situation by turning the traditional hierarchy pyramid upside down when it comes to implementation. As a result, you, the leader, work for your people. This one change, although it seems minor, makes a major difference. The difference is between who is responsible and who is responsive. When you turn the organizational pyramid upside down, rather than your people being responsive to you, they become responsible. Responsible to those at the top of the inverted pyramid, the customer. Now, some of the key characteristics of servant leaders. Number one, they are great listeners. Servant leaders seek to identify the will of the group and help to clarify that will by listening receptively. They have empathy. They believe people deserve to be accepted and recognized for their special and unique spirit. So servant leaders assume the good intention of staff, co-workers, and colleagues and does not reject them as people. They have awareness. They have general awareness and self-awareness. Awareness helps them understand issues involving ethics, power, and value. They are persuasive. Servant leaders seek to convince others rather than coerce them. And most of all, they are trusting. Servant leaders both serve first and trust first. Now let's review by looking at this passage in the book of Matthew 20, verse 28. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. How we see people determine how we serve people. What you see when you look at someone determine how you serve. Servant leaders remember that someone with a chip on their shoulder may have scars on their back, so their approach is not judgment, but a respectful action. I believe servant leaders personifies what Jesus is all about. He is our model for servant leadership. He loves us while we were yet sinners. He died for us. Now let's review what we learned earlier. Servant leaders work for the people. Their people is responsive to them. They come to serve and not to be served. They listen. They have empathy. they have awareness, and they are trusting. This is the end of the book report. Thank you. Have a blessed day.